This just in, you are looking at obviously a very disturbing live shot there. That is the World Trade Center, and we have unconfirmed reports this morning that a plane has crashed into one of the towers of the World Trade Center. The CNN Center right now is just beginning to work on this story, obviously calling our sources and trying to figure out exactly what happened, but clearly something relatively devastating happening this morning there on the south end of the island of Manhattan. That is, once again, a picture.
September 11th, 2001, 10 years ago. I was in 5th grade. I was in Miss Chappell's class. That morning, no one believes me when I tell this story, but that morning we were talking about the original bombings on the World Trade Center back in the early 90s. And while we were talking about it, one of my classmates, someone from another class, Cam Thompson, walked in. And he looked at Miss Chappell and he said, "The Pentagon has been bombed." Those were his exact words. And Miss Chappell, having family that was supposed to be there, went crazy. Our TV didn't work in the classroom. She tried to turn it on and she got so angry she pulled the cord out of the wall and told us to go to Mrs. Boyette's class. And we followed Cam back to Mrs. Boyette's class, and Miss Chappell went and took care of finding out what was going on with her father. But it's hard to comprehend, really, because we get to Mrs. Boyette's room and we're standing around the television and we see these two buildings, the Twin Towers, which some of us have heard of, some of us haven't. One of them is smoking profusely, and there's something on the screen about a plane that had hit it, and we didn't know what was going on. And I remember not being there long and watching it and seeing the second plane hit the tower. I remember Mrs. Boyette started crying, and most of the people in the class, there were like 4 different classes in this one portable together, and everyone was just in shock, and we were only in 5th grade. We didn't really know what was going on. I remember some of us were at the wall looking at the giant map, trying to comprehend how far away New York was from Florida, trying to wonder if we should be afraid that something was going to move down in this direction. And then we heard about the Pentagon attack and Flight 93 that crashed into the field. And I remember being terrified. I mean, so many miles away, but terrified. Not knowing what was going on, not being able to comprehend it. Then we went back to class, and our guidance counselor was in there, replacing our teacher who was trying to find out things about her family. And I remember our guidance counselor asked us how we felt. And I can't honestly tell you how I felt at the time. Looking back on it now, it's devastating, obviously, but it hurts. It's hard because so many people, generations beneath ours, don't really understand what 9/11 is. I was a substitute for a year, and some of the kids on September 11th that year had no idea what September 11th really was. And I was in a 5th grade class that day on September 11th of 2010. And I remember talking to the kids about it and thinking I was only their age. And it was a lot. But that year, Southside Elementary really came together from September to the end of the school year. And the rest of 5th grade, we were banding together. We came together. We made flag pins with safety pins and beads. We would go into classrooms in the morning. We'd stay after school, and we sold them. And we used it to raise money for to buy supplies for our fire department and just to help out as much as we could. And I still have the flag pin that I made, the first one that I made and bought. And every year on September 11th, I wear it. And I keep it. just as a reminder of that day. And I feel like we really just came together in Southside. We banded together, and it brought us closer together that year. And September 11th, I remember all these details, and I remember being so afraid of what was going on, and I try to tell people about that now, and I talk to kids that are younger than me, and they don't get it, and they need to realize how serious September 11th was, and what it did to our country, and what it has led to today. I hope that we never forget September 11th, and that we as a country continue to remember what happened that day. Hopefully, through the recollection of my own story and the recollection of others, you too can remember where you were on September 11th, 2001. And if you're watching this and you weren't even born on September 11th of 2001, think about what we're saying. Because that day was a very hard day. But let's remember, let's reflect, and let's honor those who gave their lives and who lost their lives for our country, and those that were killed in the horrible, horrible incidents of September 11th, 2001.
Let's go back to Jennifer Oberstein, who was talking to a second ago. Jennifer, did you see this happen?
Hello?
Did you just see this happen, Jennifer?
Matt, I've never seen any. It looks like a movie. I saw a large plane, like a jet, going immediately headed directly into the World Trade Center. It just flew into it, into the other tower, coming from south to north. I watched the plane fly into the World Trade Center. It was a jet. It was a very large plane. It was going fast. It went past the Ritz-Carlton Hotel that's being built in Battery Park. It flew right past it, almost hit it, and then went in.
This is so shocking, of course, to everybody watching.
I've never seen anything like it. It literally flew itself into World Trade Center.
Obviously now we move from what appears to have, there it is right there.
Again, I'm looking from south to north, and it went into the one on the right.
That appeared to be at least a 727.
September 11th, 2001, I remember being in my 5th grade class and just utter chaos.
Oh my God! 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 It's so loud! Oh my God!
If tomorrow all the things were gone, I'd work for all my life, and I had to start again with just my children and my wife. I'd thank my lucky stars to be living here today, 'cause the flag still stands for freedom, and they can't take that away. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston and New York to LA. Well, there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say that I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.